Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 9 of Punchline Pixels. I am Laird Wysocki, here with my ever-loving host and partners in podcast and partners in life, Alex Van Dam.
Forever.
That was nice, dude. My hands are clammy, aren't they?
Forever. Welcome to episode 9, everyone. This is our podcast where we talk about video games and things, and we fuck around. We have fun. All right?
So cheers.
So come find out.
Cheers to having fun.
Come find out.
Alex with his non-alcoholic beverage.
I don't drink. I do, but I don't on here.
Why not? Why don't you ever join me?
I don't know, man. I used to. Remember?
You did like once.
I can't bring the fire when I'm drinking booze. You know what I mean? I gotta.
You're barely a sizzle as it is, so I'd hate to see you.
Yeah, I'm a pretty low energy guy. You're not wrong. All right, is this gonna be the therapist hours?
Dude, I feel like inevitably it just becomes that at some point. But
no, we can't do that.
Hey, what a week in gaming, though. There's a lot of news this week. I think there was some fun games that came out, man. We'll talk about the PlayStation State of Play. There was a ton of exciting shit out of that. And, dude, let me just say before we even talk about it, how much more fucking exciting PlayStation's future is than Xbox's, comparing those two. That developer direct. And I get it, like maybe the scope was a little more shallow with the Xbox one, but I also think it's because Xbox doesn't have a lot to showcase. Like, that PlayStation, I was pumped, dude, watching that shit.
Yeah, no, there was a lot that happened during it. We'll get to that. Obviously, there's a lot to cover.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just a couple things on my mind I need to clear.
Well, why don't you lay it on me, man? It sounds like therapy hour. You can get a couch. You can lay down.
So, I don't want to dwell on this too much. Obviously, this is a video game podcast, but I was in a fantasy football league this year with some people, and this is my dilemma right now. So I was in a fantasy football league with a former coworker of mine who quit the league partway through.
Do I know this person?
No, you don't.
Okay.
And he quit the league. I don't know anyone else in the league. And the last place prize, I didn't realize until the end, is that I have to dress up in a cheerleader outfit and show up at a local restaurant where they're having a get-together for the Pro Bowl tomorrow. So
wait, so tomorrow you gotta wear a cheerleader outfit?
That's allegedly the plan.
Bro, that's so funny.
I can't decide whether to do it or bail.
We don't really have a choice.
Well, yeah, you're right. I've never met any of these guys.
You never met them?
I've never met a single one of these guys.
Who are they?
They're friends of the guy who joined the league with me, and then the guy quit partway through.
Man.
Yeah. He's not going to be there. So I'm literally, we're going to talk about video games, but I'm real nervous for this. And this is going to happen tomorrow. So I'm thinking about bailing, but I also have a cheerleader outfit that I ordered on Amazon.
Did you order it for this event or did you already have one?
I ordered it for this event.
You already had one.
I did not already have one. No, I didn't. All right.
If I see that outfit and there's stains on it, I'll know you already had it.
God.
I don't mean any dirty. I'm just saying I'll know it's been used before.
It's ordered from Amazon. It literally just arrived, and so I don't know what to do. There's a couple options here. You know, there's.
Well, guys, chime in the comments. Chime in the comments what Alex should do. I mean, this is tomorrow, right?
It'll be over with by the time this is happening, but
that's a good point.
Tell me what you think I should have done. I could go through with it, have fun, maybe make some new friends. Or I could be like, oh, I ordered it. It's too small. Like, I can't wear it. Sorry, guys.
I don't know if that excuse will be as good because because then they'll be like, wear it anyways.
Yeah, but what if I'm like, it's not even wearable? You know what I mean?
They'll be like, my mom's a tailor and she'll adjust it for you.
Well, all right. Well, I don't want to dwell too much on that. We're talking about video games here today.
You brought it up.
But I did. I needed to clear it because it's on my mind.
I think you should do it.
Okay.
That would be my vote.
Just do it. Have fun. Maybe make friends and memories.
I mean,
but if you know me, I'm not the kind of guy that's just like...
That's a big ask, though.
It is a big ask.
Especially with people you don't know. Would you rather show up to people you did know or didn't know in a cheerleader outfit?
People I know.
Really?
For sure. For sure.
But what if you never see these people again? What difference does it fucking make?
I mean...
There'll be pictures. There's gonna be pictures.
I'm not going. You put it that way, I can't do it.
Thing?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, fuck. Well, I'm glad this isn't recording now. proof of me saying.
Right. I hope these guys listen to it. They're like, we're gonna kick his ass, man.
Football, we're mad.
Because people who play fantasy sports, obviously,
they're all angry.
jocks, just big jocks with anger issues, father problems.
I don't know how to segue out of this, but yeah. So that's what's on my mind a little bit. So if you see me just lost in thought, that's probably what I'm thinking of.
Well, try and stay focused for the podcast.
I got this.
Hey, if you can't do it though, I understand.
I got this. All right, don't worry.
You sure you don't want to drink for that one?
No, see, that would not help with that. But anyway, what do you want to cover first as far as the state of play goes?
I think one of the biggest things to cover, and it's just kind of a side note from the stuff that's come out today, or this week or this month, is the layoffs that are happening in the industry right now. I don't know if you followed that at all, but it's pretty big news right now that, last year's accumulation of layoffs was around 10,000. This month alone, we have 6,000. It's insane, man. Hopefully, I think this is a big year for layoffs. I've heard this is a year that a lot of streaming services are going to end up crumbling or folding into another streaming service.
I've heard tell of Twitch.
I heard something about that.
As it was. There's another platform that I'm not super familiar with. I can't remember the name of, but that's
Uber's never been profitable.
It seems like
Isn't that wild?
That seems crazy.
Absolutely.
But anyway,
but needless to say, there's structures that were established in the last 5 to 7 years, especially in the gaming industry, of overhiring. I mean, when Embracer bought all those fucking companies, and now they're starting to fold financially because some of their games aren't paying off. So now they're laying off these people who they bought. They would have been better off just staying an independent studio, Yeah. It's a little frustrating, but one of the biggest layoffs with Microsoft was in the Activision Blizzard sphere, and as one of Blizzard's co-founders, they let go.
Really?
So it's a pretty big
I don't know a lot about the industry side of what's going on. I do know, obviously, in the last however so many years, there's been a lot of layoffs. It's
unfortunate. So, you have years where these gaming entities like 2K and Activision are pulling record numbers, yet they're laying off thousands of people. So it's just unfortunate, like you look at the gaming sphere of like 2023 and what an amazing year it was for releases, but it was a terrible year for the industry in and of itself. And so looking like 2024 is a little rough in the start. Hopefully we smooth over this and we fly on eagle's wings from here.
I mean, so far, video game wise, I think we're off to a good start. I think it's going to be another heavy year.
Speaking of good starts, what do you hear about Suicide Squad?
Oh, sounds great. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about good starts in video games so far this year. Suicide Squad. I'm being sarcastic. I don't know if that's coming through right now. So I'm going to stop.
I was actually curious if you actually felt that.
No, I haven't played it, but from everything I've heard is that it's a disaster. Hey, those live service games, 95% of the time are going to be a miss.
Especially those Marvel ones, too. They tried that shit with the Avengers, and I don't know if it's just because it's so heavily monetized, it's completely... You're unable to remove yourself from that, and the gameplay's not strong enough to hold on its own. But, it's crazy, too, because I watched a bunch of cinematics from Suicide Squad. They were great, dude. Really good voice acting. Really, the story I'm seeing is actually pretty interesting. So it's really fucking unfortunate that the gameplay is as shoddy as it is.
There are aspects of it that look like they worked.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the traversal through the city
absolutely
and shit like that looks like it works. But overall, as a whole, from what we're hearing, it's
on the whole.
Yeah, on the whole, Preparation Age feels good. But Suicide Squad does not. And
whoops! That's what I say. Woo! That's what I wrote in my notes. Suicide Squad, whoops.
Not good on the whole.
That's unfortunate.
So, yeah, no, that sucks. But that's okay with me. I'm going to be playing Infinite Wealth, which I have been playing. And
okay, let's hear your thoughts here.
So far, I'm about 15 hours in already. That's all I've been playing when I'm not at work is Infinite Wealth. And it's a lot of fun from start to finish. Really,
Wait, did you finish it?
No.
So you can't say that yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Very good point. I'll give you that. But the first couple hours are pretty heavy, actually.
Like narratively?
Narratively, like...
no spoilers.
Well, I know it's the very beginning of the game, though. So, I mean, it's...
Folks, if you're sensitive to spoilers, this guy's about to fucking lay out some shit, some
It's
chum.
been said
You're about to lay out some chum.
in a lot of previews and reviews I've seen of the game so far.
Okay.
But and it kind of harkens back.
I'm not saying it.
You don't like the word harken?
I like it.
It harkens
I
back
used it
to
last
what we were
episode.
talking about with layoffs and stuff like that. There's a part pretty early on in the game where Ichiban Kasuga,
I
the
think I
main
ate there one
character-
time.
You fucking asshole. There you go again, Laird. Darn Laird with the Asian hate. Here he is.
I don't think there's enough Asian hate.
Okay. I'm not going to segue down that path anymore.
Continue.
What was I saying?
Ichiban.
No, there's a part early on where he gets laid off from his job at
Dude, that's real.
HelloWorks.
That shit hits real,
And
dude.
there's a scene where he's leaving and like saying his goodbyes very theatrically, and no one really gives a shit around him. And there's a lot of sad moments. There's a scene early on where he gets kind of like, for lack of a better phrase, friend zoned by someone, and he's a very like earnest character.
Is he a bit of a loser? Like, it's kind of written that way?
He's the lovable loser.
Yeah.
Like, I guess you could call him that, but, he's also a badass, so fucking, he's a very, very relatable character, to be honest with you.
Do you think you're a loser badass?
Yeah. That's me.
Dude,
You know what? Fuck it. I'm
Holy
really
shit,
into
that's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, he's a very likable main character, and it actually takes it took me 10 hours into the game to actually get to Hawaii.
Yeah, I've heard there was a good section in the beginning, and then it makes that contrast even better when you do go into the new map. Yeah,
100%. They nail it. The side games so far are fantastic. There's that word again. Sujiman, though. The Sujiman, it's a whole little Pokemon side quest. It's got the best side quests in video games, in my opinion.
Folks, you heard it here first. Best side quest in gaming ever?
I think so, yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
Witcher
the
fans,
sub-stories,
chime in.
there's always something interesting going on in those games, and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is no different. I haven't even gotten to the Dandoko Island Animal Crossing type thing. That's supposed to be a whole other deep thing. So I'm pumped to play more of that, and
I think it's really
what's been going on.
What an exciting concept, man! And leave it up to the Japanese to be able to achieve. They've always been really good.
I don't know why that came across as racist.
Yeah, it's actually a compliment.
Leave it up to the Japanese.
That's the goddamn Japanese to do something really impressive. No, they often cross genres in their games, and they do it really fucking well. And I feel like Yakuza's always Shenmue. I think of Shenmue a lot as well.
There's references to that in this game, and it's it's very much in the same vein as a Shenmue.
Have you cried?
Have I cried
in
life?
Like the narrative.
There were times early on in the first couple hours where I found myself tearing up a little bit. There's some very heavy, heartfelt moments early on in the game. And then when you go to Hawaii, it very much makes that contrast.
Stop saying Hawaii.
What?
Say Hawaii.
Hawaii. What am I saying
Your
wrong?
E's too subtle.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Say Ragnarok.
Yeah. No, it's totally different thing.
Okay. Well, anyway, it makes the contrast that much different, though. When you go there, to the island. The island starts with an H, and it's so much happier and cheerful. But there's also the gloomy, seedy underworld areas of Hawaii.
There you go.
Thanks.
Honolulu.
I couldn't decide in my head what one to go with, but yeah. So far, fantastic.
Yeah, dude,
great experience.
the stuff
Love
I've
it.
watched on it looks super fun. Yeah. I know it probably means more to the people who have been playing it for a long time. It's probably not the best game to potentially jump into.
Might not be.
But it looks super fun, man. It's quirky. It owns its fucking quirkiness. It's part of its charm. The Pokemon game being based on just people, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're treated like animals. I think that's fucking hilarious.
There's a game going on in the main character's head where, every single person that you're combating against turns into these kind of enlarged versions or whatever of their actual selves.
Yep.
And then you can use them to battle in an actual league where there's, a version of the Pokemon League, like top 4 and everything like that.
That's cool.
And
It's fun.
I've spent a lot of time diving into that already. And, it
Seems like a game you could sink 200 hours into pretty easy.
Easy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's not a lot of developers making games like a Dragon. And it's really cool when they broke out of, because I think Yakuza was pretty small, like the fan base, and it grew maybe with every iteration. But once like a Dragon came out, or like once they adopted that name, because wasn't that always called that in Japan? Like it was never called Yakuza, I don't think.
No,
right?
yeah, that's a name of the last game, and then they decided that that's going to be how.
Yeah, it's cool.
The moniker for.
Yeah, it seems like a really fun franchise to be involved with. I'm really excited for all the fans out there.
I'm having fun.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that, man.
Yeah, I mean, you can stop blowing that fucking game, I guess.
Your load is blown.
I don't know. Yeah, we've been sucking that game's dick for weeks.
Oh, well, I didn't play it, but I was watching. I was cucking it. I was cucking that game.
Yeah.
We've
delved into this topic in the past.
Yeah, but it's been a while.
It's been a
Been
while.
a while for that one, too.
Yeah, well, it's stained.
Yeah, tell everybody out there
if you don't get
that they don't know who sang that song.
Yeah, so what have you been playing, I guess? Other than those games, I've kind of dipped my tip into some other shit on the Steam Deck. Largely, I've been playing Infinite Wealth, but I've started Hi-Fi Rush the other day.
Thoughts?
So far, it's a lot of fun. The music-based combat is something original, and yeah, I love the cartoon style, the
it's like cel-shaded,
everything
almost.
Like that. It's it
looks
out
fun.
of the park, but I've only put probably an hour into it, so
I'll probably end up purchasing that as well. Apparently, you need Game Pass to even play online on Xbox, so I think I'm just gonna have a Game Pass, and it comes along for the ride.
Well,
so,
what have you been playing though?
Not too much. I've been decently busy. I haven't had a ton of time to prioritize gaming, but I've more or less just been staying up on the news. But what I've been playing, ironically enough, for the first time ever, I'm playing this game, and this is old, BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
And I'm playing it because I never played it, and I want to get ready for an upcoming game that's coming up that is kind of, an iteration of that franchise. So and we'll talk about that later as well.
Oh.
So, but I also want to touch base with you. Speaking of foreshadowing, Enshrouded. What you touched that a little bit, didn't you?
I touched it.
You tickled it?
Yeah, much like. Yeah.
What kind of feedback did you get?
I've only tapped into it briefly. Honestly, Infinite Wealth's been taking up a lot of my time, but one of the reasons I've stopped playing so much Enshrouded, a lot of my friends played it and dove in really hard.
Is Brad Stack one of them?
Who?
Brad Stack?
Oh.
Is he one of them playing Enshrouded?
Yeah.
Dude, he's going to hate that you said who.
No, I know. I was going to do this whole bit where I pretended like he was dead to me. I don't know.
We should just pretend he was dead in general.
I don't know why.
Rest in peace, Brad Stack.
No reason at
Rest
all.
in peace.
I'm sorry. And that's not even a knock on them. They dove in hard, and that's
in deep.
And that was what they wanted to do, and I felt behind a lot, and they have a lot more experience in survival games than I do.
It seems like a very sensitive topic for you.
No, it's not. I'm being real right now, though. I'm a sensitive guy.
But you are a sensitive guy.
I'm being honest. No, like I said, that's not a knock on that at all. That's just I wanted to play more Infinite Wealth, and when that came out, that my attention diverted to that entirely.
Makes sense.
So
you'll probably hop back on Enshrouded in general.
I'm sure I will. I was, toying with playing a solo server, and just doing that, or jumping into their server and just finding a spot in the middle of nowhere and building my own little fucking fortress and village.
Elaborate on the concept of the game.
So it's a survival game. Yeah. I don't know, I can't really even remember much about the story.
I mean, it's what it seems like. It seems like it's survival mixed with base building, mixed with dungeon crawling.
There are a lot of action RPG elements to it, akin to almost like an Elder Scrolls game even.
Yeah. It's kind
discovering areas and exploration is a little more of the focus, I feel like, early on. Like I said, I've only probably played 3 or 4 hours of it. But the base building is pretty user friendly, it seems, so far.
Okay.
It's pretty easy.
That's
I've
pretty
seen
big.
some pretty crazy shit that people have made in it. But
it's amazing how quickly gamers can conquer a game.
Yeah.
Like, dude, Tears of the Kingdom was out for like 2 days.
And
people just had
me,
fucking
man.
statues moving, torturing Koroks. Like, it was amazing how quick. It's like people, when they buy a game, and there might be people out there who listen right now who are like this, they'll sit down and beat it. They'll just sit down and beat a fucking game as soon as they get it.
It really makes it interesting. It's an interesting point that you raise because the internet has kind of changed it a little bit, and I don't like that because I feel intimidated and I feel like I'm behind the entire time when I see people making crazy shit day one of a game coming out. It used to be word of mouth. Your buddy up the street would be like, "Dude, did you fucking pull this shit off in Ocarina of Time?" You know, blah blah blah, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And now it's like immediately there's someone out there who did the most fantastical thing in a game that you can.
Well, I mean, with boundary breaking too and glitch hunters, it's just like not only is the game beat, there's a deeper level of it explored already before you're even an eighth of the way through the narrative. So I think gaming, being involved in the gaming world, I feel like there's a perpetual feeling of being behind.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody feels like they're up to date 100%. Mm-hmm. How could you be? Even as a game reviewer, that's why I'm afraid to start reviewing games, is because I'll start losing my ability of just playing a game for enjoyment, or so distracted by doing this that I'm not achieving what I wanted to in the first place.
Just analyzing it from the reviewer's standpoint.
Exactly. I already do that with movies, and it ruined movies for me.
Well, yeah, I could see that happening. And
I mean, I do critique games heavily as well. I'm decently opinionated.
You're very critical.
You haven't? Have you noticed?
Yeah. We know that's a hot topic right now.
Are people talking about that?
Yeah, hot topic.
Good. At the store, hot topic.
Yeah, hot topic.
The manager specifically.
They're talking about Avenged Sevenfold and your fucking whatever we were just saying.
Dude, that's hilarious. I forgot to. Well, cool, man. Yeah, let me know. Is Enshrouded PC only?
Yes. I thought so as well. At this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free?
I'm pretty confident in saying that. Yeah, I purchased the game. Purchased it.
I think that's an interesting thing to bring to
$20 to $25, somewhere around there.
$20 to $25 to try a very popular game
correctly,
right now.
But also, it's in early access still, technically.
Yep.
But you know
what live service game isn't, dude?
Yeah, well.
It's true, though.
Yeah, I hesitate to call it live service. I don't know.
Is it not going to be live service to some extent?
Well, they're going to have updates and stuff like that, but I don't know. I think
constitutes yeah, but I know what you're saying. The distinction lies. Right.
Like
but I think in the end, it's still the same because it is being live service. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, then any game, I guess, could technically
and a whorehouse. Whorehouses would be that, too.
A live service?
That's right.
Okay. I like it.
I'm
picking up what you're putting down.
Woo!
So, yeah, I haven't played too much of Enshrouded, but it's a game that's on the forefront of the culture right now, I guess, in video games. People are playing it a lot, so I'll
the
probably
forefront. Some would say the foreskin.
Yeah, Enshrouded. Right?
The shroud.
Oh,
woo! Segueing into the next topic, the PlayStation State of Play.
We haven't even dipped our tip in that yet.
No, dude, we haven't dipped our shroud in that yet. But there was a ton, dude. And I'm gonna harken back to what I was saying before. Boom. PlayStation's future is just so much more well-defined, stronger presence. I mean, it's not even comparative, dude. Xbox has lost this race again. Xbox will never win this race. Game Pass, being a strong service, is not enough to carry that system, and that's, in my opinion, the only thing they have going for them.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we'll see what Bethesda does in the future here, but I don't think one good Bethesda game outweighs PlayStation State of Play like this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Maybe I should have done a little bit more research on which of these games are any of these games cross-platform.
That's a good question. I think a majority of these, at least,
some of them are, but
a majority of these will, if they are cross-platform, have that exclusivity for a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But either way, yeah, you're right about that point. Either way,
yeah.
So, what game do you want to talk about first?
Dude, I liked
State of Play.
A lot of those. Like that was my shit. So we're gonna start off with Helldivers 2.
Yeah,
that's coming out real soon too. I want to say it was a March release.
We should. No, it's not a March release. It's straight up. I wrote down here February 8th.
Dude,
it comes out in like a few days.
Yeah, comes out 5 days from this recording.
I want to play that. Yeah, I want to play that.
We should buy it
together.
Yeah.
Did you play the first one? We talked about this a little bit.
No, we didn't. But I watched a bunch of videos on it. Yeah. just after we talked about it
more of
because
a
it was so
top-down
interesting.
look.
Yep.
But I'm really looking forward to playing Helldivers.
It looks so strong. The reveal of mechs being in it as well is just an exciting prospect to me.
It's going to be like $40 too, I think.
Right,
I don't think it's a full price game.
And it shouldn't be, I would say. It's probably decently shallow in terms of the scope of
the
it.
amount of content.
Yeah.
But I start off with.
You can have a complex game system that's satisfying and still have shallowness in terms of your depth of your exploration. You know, but I think it just looks fun, dude.
Yeah. No.
Did you ever play Risk of Rain 2?
That's a game I have on. Well, I bought Risk of Rain Returns, the remake of the first one, on my Steam Deck.
Shout out to Alex's Steam Deck, guys. Leave in the comments what you guys think, if you still think he has it or if you think he's faking still.
Yeah, I'm
having
faking
the Steam
it.
Deck.
It's right
you know, they say 9 out of 10 Alexes fake it.
Anyway, not faking it. Proof.
Woo!
Right there. But Helldivers 2, I don't remember where we're going with that, but it looks like a lot of fun. I wonder if it's I don't know for sure if it's a live service game or not.
Aren't any of them anymore?
You know how we were just talking about it, but I don't know if they're gonna have like a battle pass or something like that. But either way, I'm sure they'll add content to it constantly.
Does the fact of it having a battle pass make it less desirable for you, especially as a game that you purchase as opposed to it being a free download?
It's weird that it cheapens it in my head a little bit.
But if you're paying for it too, though, I think that's the fucked up thing is when you pay.
I think it's a $40 game.
$40 to full price. I still am kind of against having that structure in a game that I've already paid for.
But it depends, because is it a full game that you're adding content to later into a battle pass? It almost feels like you should add a battle pass to a game a month after it's already come out, just to save that face a little bit and make people think that you didn't have that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but then you would just view it as complete deception.
It's also keeping it fresh though too. You know?
I think there's a really sweet spot between those two extremes, and they have yet to find it. I think quite often you
Depends
find
on the type of game too, quite a bit. A game like Overwatch, when you're putting new skins out there and things like that for
Overwatch
seasons,
is free,
festivals.
isn't it?
Now it is, but it wasn't when it came out.
Right? No, that's true.
I don't think that cheapened. It didn't at the time. I didn't think of that as being
because that wasn't the norm anymore. I feel like I'm more or less comparing to what it is now. The fact that a live service game is often free, and if I see it in a full price game, especially, I'm pretty vehemently against it because I've already poured $60 to $70 anymore. Plus, if you're getting a deluxe edition, and then these skins are just outrageously priced. So, anyways,
Helldivers 2 though
looks exciting. We should download it regardless, and maybe we could stream it. Maybe that can be one of our first live streams. Yeah. So, if you guys are interested in seeing us live stream any game, please chime in the comments. Maybe somebody besides us leaves a comment in the comments.
Yeah.
We had a couple comments in the last episode.
Oh, yeah, we'll get more. I'm not worried about that.
I'm not worried about it either. I'm just
worried about dressing up as a cheerleader tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. You're still thinking about it, huh?
I'm still thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to do it, man. The photograph thing kind of... Anyway, we're not going back into that. Helldivers 2, the gameplay looks great.
Yep.
It's not a top-down anymore. It's more of a third-person, pulled back behind your shoulder view. The co-op experience is great in that game.
It's my favorite position.
Pulled back behind the shoulder. One hand up.
Specifically behind the shoulder.
You know what else comes out real soon? What day is it today that we're recording?
The
3rd. 3 days from this recording. Foam Stars comes out.
Woo! And it's going to be a PlayStation
That's a
Plus.
PlayStation exclusive.
It's a PlayStation exclusive and PlayStation Plus. If you have the online subscription, you'll get it for free. For next month.
Looks like a lot of fun. I know we've touched base on this quite a bit, but yeah. I just wanted to say that because it's coming up very, very quickly here.
You know, I firstly... Watching the previews for it doesn't excite me. Not to say I won't enjoy the game, but it's always so funny. They're like trying to sell the game, and they're like skins, they're like new maps, a new season, a new map every season. It's like, dude,
you haven't even come out with the game,
and all you're doing is fucking telling me the same shit all these other live service games do. Yeah. That's not exciting information. That's almost an expectation at this point.
Yeah.
That when a live service game comes out every season, you can get new skins, new maps, yada yada yada. So. The preview doesn't necessarily excite me, but with it being free on PlayStation, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, sure.
Do you think, with it being a PlayStation exclusive, it shouldn't be one of the 3 games we're getting for free on PlayStation Plus? Don't you feel like it's going to be one of the 3 we get next month. But
yeah,
I think it should just be a 4th additional one on top of the 3 games we're getting anyways.
Oh, I mean, I don't put that much thought, I guess, into the free stuff I'm getting.
I do, because I think they have to stay somewhat competitive with Xbox with their Games Pass. So if you're going to offer something free, try and make it more competitive. And yes, I understand, but like there's no other competition against that game. It's just PlayStation. So all you're trying to do is funnel some fans in. Offer it as a 4th thing, dude. Give us our 3. And then give us that.
Give me my 3.
Yeah.
Throw another one in
Sony's
there.
Sony's decently cheap too, dude. You know, as much as I like fucking get on Xbox, like Sony's pretty bad too. Especially about ownership of games too. I feel like they've getting on my nerves, bro.
They've been notoriously like that in the past. But
they're so that. They are so that.
They're so that way. It's just like crazy. I don't even understand.
Next game.
Neck game? You want to play the neck game?
Neck game.
Don't start that.
What did you think of that Sonic and Shadow Generations? Is that something that excites you?
I saw briefly what it was. Yeah. Sonic's always been a game I enjoyed quite a bit.
You played Frontiers, right?
Fun. I never played the original version of that. I never actually played Frontiers either. That's another one that I wanted to kind of touch this year if I could. But there's so many. What? The word touch made you smile there?
That's what it was.
I'm going to stop and marinate on that for a minute.
That was good.
But yeah, I like Sonic.
Thank you for your input.
Yep, that's all I have to say. I like Sonic.
Yeah, I mean, I see something like that. I think it's very exciting. I'm happy they're still making Sonic games.
Yeah.
I just can't wait till they're not.
That makes sense.
Dude, do you know like the shit about the Sonic founder? Like the guy who created Sonic's in prison now?
Molest.
No, he's in prison. No, it was insider trading he got busted for. Yeah, so it's like this guy who, like, this shit's just that franchise just needs to crumble gracefully. Move the fuck on.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Ah, dude, I find it such a frustrating franchise.
I think there'll always be a spot for that, but I kind of like the side-scrolling Sonics that they came out with, Sonic Mania.
Yeah, I feel like that's where the strengths lie.
Mm-hmm. So,
but
I grew up playing Sonic. I don't want it to die
for sure in this generation. Yeah, but I don't necessarily think just because you grew up playing it, it needs to still exist, or even in that
everything
form.
that I grew up with needs to still exist. Okay. Sonic the Hedgehog, Bill Cosby, fucking
Fruit by the Foot.
What else?
Pogs.
Louis C.K. I guess I didn't really grow up.
Slammers.
Problematic people. Pogs, Slammers.
Transformers.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
They keep reinventing those motherfuckers too.
That's true.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game, what do you think of that Stellar Blade? Is that something that interests you?
Yeah, actually, it looked like fun.
Is it because of that booty?
Was there? I'm not playing this for the camera. I didn't notice.
So
was there a booty involved?
Okay.
Was it okay? Well, there was some. Yeah, I mean, it's a Japanese game.
Yeah.
So I imagine there's some
decently Bayonetta kind of a vibe.
I was going to say it looks like Nier meets Bayonetta a little bit. There were some parts of the environment, and actually the storyline when they were describing it during the state of play reminded me a lot of Nier, where there was basically a post-apocalyptic Earth where this like group of creatures, race of whatever it is. What the fuck? Do I sound like a nerd because I have glasses on? Is that what it is?
Oh man, no, but that's so funny.
So this group of creatures takes over the planet, and humanity flees.
Yeah,
and
it is
colonizes off. So it's kind of like Nier in that aspect. But I'm gonna put these back on. So it looks like a lot of fun. Hack and slashy like Bayonetta.
Yep.
Skill tree upgrades, all that good stuff. It looks like a lot of fun. It also looks like it could fall flat, maybe. So we'll see.
I think it just falls in line, and it exists, and it doesn't do anything special.
Oh, you don't like it that much?
No, I actually have nothing against it. I'm not typically into the Devil May Cry Bayonetta style of action in general.
Interesting.
But I don't think it looks like it's doing anything enough to exceed above those franchises. I think it's people will love it.
Yeah.
People who it's marketed to will love it.
Mm.
And that booty.
I guess I got to go back and look for that booty.
Man.
But that booty.
So on to the next one. This is probably one that tickles your fancy quite a bit. The
Ooh.
Dave the Diver DLC. Did you see it?
I did see that.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, side note on the Dave the Diver stuff, it's coming to PlayStation now. It wasn't
not
on
on
PlayStation already. It's coming to PlayStation in April. I already have it on Switch. You can get it on the Steam Deck. I'm thinking about getting it again on the Steam Deck.
What's the purpose of purchasing it twice on a portable system?
Maybe mods or something like that. If I ever got into that, I could look into that.
Why not just buy it if you choose to get into mods then? Because I'm sure it'll be dirt cheaper.
That's the plan. I'm not going to just get it right away, but maybe, I don't know. We'll see when the DLC comes out. The Godzilla DLC, it's really hard for me to not do an offensive accent.
Do it.
I'm not going to do
your most offensive accent right now.
No, I'm not going to do the offensive accent. Godzilla. It's hard to say Godzilla. I can't admit that even. So, Godzilla, Dave the Diver DLC.
Interesting mashup too.
Mashups.
Yeah, interesting.
Big fan of mashups
mashing.
ever since Linkin Park and Jay-Z got together.
Ooh, what was that? The remix? Or no, encore.
Yeah. Do you want more?
Cook and roll with the Brooklyn Bro.
So for one last time, I need y'all to something. Anyway.
Pretty sure.
Godzilla.
There's an N-word in there somewhere.
I think there was. Yeah. That's why I stumbled, but I couldn't remember the words.
Tripping, stumbling.
Ooh.
All right. On to the next one because, Dave the Diver, very exciting. I like to see that combination. I like that when indies do that too, when they draw on kind of a obscure combination or like two indies get together and represent each other in each other's games. Dead Cell's really cool for it. I don't know if you still play Dead Cells at all.
Yeah, they did the Castlevania mashup.
Right.
And fantastic.
And not only that, they bring in aspects of they have Hollow Knight representation, Shovel Knight. It's just cool to see those featured in there. Yeah. It seems like a cool network behind the doors. Silent Hill 2 remake. Did you play Silent Hill 2 back in the day?
See, I've never been a big survival horror guy.
You didn't play Resident Evil back in the day either, did you?
No, I was never
a
big fan of feeling uncomfortable when I'm gaming. You know what I mean? Alan Wake 2 is the exception to that rule, 100%.
Where do you think the distinction lies?
Well, there's more to it with Alan Wake 2, and honestly, nowadays I can play games like that.
Do you think you'll play Silent Hill 2
I think
remake?
I will. It looked better. It looked like they improved on the combat a lot because the combat was clunky in those games.
The combat was just like any of those Resident Evil games where it's like you're kind of like a train, dude. You're on a track, and that's the only choice you got, and you're hopefully aiming in the right direction. There's a decent amount of like aim assist, but I think the combat looks far stronger.
Those systems have improved so much in gaming.
Thank God. I think Grand Theft Auto is probably the ones that benefited the most too when they got their aiming system down.
Yeah,
the old ones are atrocious to play anymore.
For sure. But that's why those remakes of Resident Evil have been so successful too, because visually they're stunning, and the controls in the old games were so atrocious.
Well, and it's interesting that 4 did so well and stood out because 4 was the one that revolutionized that system too. So it's like they reinvented it again and only found more fluidity. So
yeah, I'll end up playing it. How about you?
Yeah, I think, it's tough if it's a full price game. I grew up watching my brother play the game. I know the ending and most of the story. Yeah. So it's a great story. If you don't know the Silent Hill 2 story,
familiar with the Silent Hill
it's very
story,
strong, especially of most of the Silent Hills. I know 1, 2, and 3, their stories. It's the strongest of those 3, at least.
It actually seems more up my alley than a Resident Evil storyline or something of that nature.
It's definitely more horror thriller.
Yeah, more of a psychological element.
Yeah,
to it,
and
right?
Resident Evil's more action horror, So, I think that...
I'll probably check it out.
I bet Silent Hill 2 remake's more like an Alan Wake 2 than an RE4 remake.
Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe I get. Also looks a little clunky, too. So, next game that came after that...
Throw some shade on that shit real quick as we're exiting.
It did look a little clunky.
Yeah.
But I think Alan Wake 2 is a little clunky, too.
That is the one knock on... not to go down Alan Wake 2 path too much, but that is why it's not a 10 out of a 10 game for me. The reason it's a 9 is because there are moments and parts that are frustrating when the controls during action sequences can be a little
Did you
clunky.
think it was hard?
There are parts that I died on, but I don't think it's hard. I don't think it's
my brother was struggling with it.
Really, there are parts that I.
You hear that? You hear that, man?
Well, I'm not going to jump on that one with you. First
on
off, I don't know your brother enough to jump on that.
You know him.
Yeah, but not enough to give him shit.
I'm kidding. He's a talented gamer.
But also at the same time, there were parts in that game that were difficult. Like the musical sequence. I died during that a few times.
Why are you going to throw that out there, dude? That's a huge spoiler.
Well, no, dude, they had a fucking part during the Game Awards.
But if you didn't play the game, you wouldn't have associated that with a scene in it.
Well, we've touched on this already during the podcast.
I don't know if we touched on it during the podcast.
We're 40 minutes in, so I already think that, I think we're safe at this point. If you,
for sure.
I agree. We have talked about that scene. But it was
difficult.
Have,
but we did.
I've died several times, I guess, during that game.
Yeah, I did too.
And there are puzzles that are difficult during that game, actually. Later on in the game, I had to look up a couple of solutions.
Ooh, do you go to walkthroughs quite often?
I don't, but I did, and I think I admitted this on the last episode. I wanted to finish it before Infinite Wealth came out.
Yeah,
and get that Steam Deck.
Because you said near the end you weren't as in-depth exploration on the last.
I started kind of trying to get through, so I did look up solutions on I think one or two puzzles, but so I totally understand it's not the easiest of games, but I don't know. I don't think it was like Dark Souls difficulty or anything.
No,
like that.
I don't think it could even be construed that way either. I more or less just want to throw shade at Lyric too.
Oh, okay.
Love you.
Understandable. But
next game, and this is one I'm kind of torn on, and I don't know what your thoughts are. That Judas game.
I have to do this real quick. Anyway, that's one game that I did not personally look at too much on, and this is gonna sound maybe a little sexist.
Oh, what a way to lead into it.
But I hate when. No, I'm just joking. No, I don't know. I saw the protagonist and it didn't look appealing to me. I don't know.
The visual style doesn't appeal to you, or just the protagonist alone?
Just the protagonist.
Is that enough to stop you from playing a game?
No,
especially if it's first person.
Entirely. I gotta check it out. I've seen comparisons of people making comparisons to BioShock.
Well, it's Ken Levine.
Like that.
It's like the creator of BioShock.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I didn't actually. So that's one game I don't know a whole lot about.
So, I think the difficult thing is, how often do you see a game come out and it's like, from the producer of BioShock, and it's fucking nothing like it. And it's not even really a great game. So I don't like getting into a game based on the merits of the developer alone. Mm-hmm. But that vibe is the most BioShock vibe.
Yeah.
But also it's kind of giving me the same vibe as Atomic Heart too, a little bit. Where it's like, it feels like BioShock, but it's got to have some fucking teeth to it too, dude. Because that shit'll fall flat on its face 2 hours in if that's all it is. It's just some superficial,
Yeah.
Oh, look, it looks like BioShock. So I don't understand the story at all.
That's
I don't know
exactly
what the fuck's going on there, dude.
Heart, though. It fell flat, like you were saying.
Yeah.
But I did see brief screenshots and stuff like that from what they showed from that game, and it does give me BioShock vibes, not
intentionally,
more than just the name of Ken Levine.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that he was involved, but I should have.
Listen, if it's anything like BioShock 1, 2, or Infinite, I'm fucking into it, dude.
Word.
They're great games, man. I'm playing Infinite for the first time through right now.
It's a great game.
I never finished it back in the day. And it's really nice to have a linear first-person shooter that has a decently strong narrative as of now. I haven't finished it. I know it's kind of contentious whether people like it or not.
What, BioShock Infinite?
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it a lot. I got so close to finishing it. It's one of the games that I bailed and
you never
ship
finished
at the
it either?
very last moment.
So you never played the DLC either, huh?
No.
Because that Minerva's Den DLC is on most people's list of top DLCs ever in a game. So my goal is to finish Infinite and then play that DLC and finally see what the fuck people are talking about with it. So.
Well, we'll see if that ever happens.
Me beating it?
Are you going to beat Alan Wake 2?
Dude, yes, I am. I am. Okay. I couldn't play it on the road because my connection was so bad. My cloud streaming. So speaking of the battling in that game, when you have a slight delay, when you're doing PlayStation remote, dude, I was fighting two wolves and I couldn't fucking beat them, and I never have trouble with those battles, dude. No. So I did it. I died twice and I turned it off.
Yeah,
it wasn't even worth battling the lag.
Man.
So my goal is to play it this weekend. Hopefully I beat it. I think I said that last episode. So Judas, exciting new property coming out.
I'll check
Hopefully
it
it
out,
turns
dude.
into something.
Yeah.
Next one, Dragon's Dogma 2. I know
Looks
we've kind
great.
of, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, dude. I think conversation and character models are a little stiff. That'll always be a big critique of mine too, because as strong as a BioWare game is too, I feel like they're very talking heady, where it's just like they stand there. There's no animation outside of like a few shifting of their steps or something. And I feel like that's what Dragon's Dogma is starting to look like to me.
I mean, the first game was a little bit like that, but the second game looks visually stunning, I think.
Absolutely.
The combat looked like a blast.
Yep.
That one comes out on March 22.
Yeah,
and I
March
think it's
22 is a
gonna
pretty
be-
big release date for a lot of these games.
The next couple months are going to be pretty exciting, but yeah, March 22 is a big release date. I don't know how much else we need to say about Dragon's Dogma 2, but we can segue into
Well, I can also
another
just
March
mention
22 release.
the last thing I want to say in Dragon's Dogma is I played the first one recently.
Oh, okay.
First time ever. I never played it. That's 360 era. I just never got to it.
It's a little clunky.
It's so hard to play right now, dude. And it's very... They don't give you a lot. You're kind of fucking sent out to sea. You know what I mean? To just kind of like... my dog is twitching like
Dog's
crazy
having a
in the
seizure
corner over there.
Anyway.
But I tried, dude, and the way I look at it, it's like I have so many other games I need to be playing. I can't keep dicking around Dragon's Dogma, trying
Dick
to like
down
it.
to Dragon's Dogma.
I think I paid $5 for it too.
Oh,
so
it's worth $5 to even dip your toes in and check something
dip your
out
shroud,
like that.
dip your shroud in.
Yeah, I think I've alluded to this on previous episodes. I'll dip my tip into something for $10 if it's doing something original. What would you pay? What'd
you pay for
like
Dragon's
a
Dogma?
viewfinder type game, the original one?
Yeah, what'd you pay for it?
I already own it.
What'd you pay?
I paid like $15, I think,
Ooh,
at the time. It
too
was
much.
a while ago though.
Mm-hmm.
This was
I think I paid $3. Now,
yeah. Well, $15 when you look at that though, it's 2 beers.
How far did you get
when
into
go
it?
out something like that?
that's a good.
I break it down
justification.
like that a lot.
It's a good justification.
Yeah.
You don't drink though.
I do sometimes. I go to the bar after work.
Folks,
sometimes.
chime in if you think
I
this
like to
guy
go to the
drinks.
bar after work sometimes. Have a beer or two. It's usually I'd like to drink long drinks. Anyway.
Like the long drink, like the alcohol you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a physically long drink.
No, not like a fucking one of those giant towers or any.
Ooh,
A
those
beer
are
tower
fun.
by myself. After
Those are
work.
fun.
Every day that'd
Two
be
of them.
wild.
2 of them.
That's too much.
What else was exciting
March
to you?
22.
Yeah. What was the other release?
The one for me that I think excites me, obviously both physically and mentally, is Rise of the Ronin. That game looks like it's going to be fucking great. That's probably number one on my radar as far as what we saw during the State of Play.
Huh.
Another March 22 release. The setting is like an 1800s, Japan. A little bit of a modern style to it.
I think it's a pretty unique perspective on a world that's not often in gaming.
Looks like a Dark Souls vibe to it, but there's also almost like an Assassin's Creed traversal element to it. The glider looks fucking fun.
Isn't it developers of an Assassin's Creed? I think it's previous Assassin's Creed developers. So,
I'm honestly not positive.
I'm pretty sure it is, and that's what I agree. Very Assassin's Creed 2 with the Da Vinci shit and the flying. I think one of the coolest things about it is that it's co-op. I think that's a huge selling point.
Yeah.
You don't often see that with games of that style, and I think that is kind of something that sets you apart in this industry where it's so saturated with that style of game right now. So, Ghost of Tsushima is obviously the first
there was
thing.
some element of that in there for sure, but I think it's going to have the combat is going to be a little more of a Dark Souls element. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to calculate your blocks and parries in a certain direction.
Like Ghost of Tsushima, though, right?
Yeah, but Ghost of Tsushima is a little. It's a little more arcadey, I think, than this might end up being.
I would agree with that.
But I think this might be a little more hardcore. But yeah, this is going to be top of the radar. This is a game you'd pay full price for. Or I would.
I wouldn't.
But you don't pay full price for anything.
That's not true. I do pay full price for games that I'm very excited about, but not often. And
you're not excited for Rise of the Ronin?
I am excited for it, but I don't know if I would pay $70 for it.
The reason I would deserve it.
Because I don't think it's something that expresses enough interest to me to get it flying off the shelves. The only thing that would is to co-op it with you. I would pay full price to co-op it with you.
I'm going to buy it probably day one, regardless of what anyone does.
Are you talking about me specifically?
Well, yeah, I'm saying like if anyone wants
if your mom says no, you're still gonna buy that shit.
Yeah.
Hey, have you told your mom about the podcast yet?
I don't know. I can't remember if I have or not.
We should call her one of these episodes. We should call her right now. You want to call her?
No.
And tell her
we're not calling anyone on. I'm not gonna put anyone on in that position.
Especially your mom.
Especially my mom.
Great lady, folks.
Rise of the Ronin looks great. That's the one or two that I'm the most excited about. Yeah, the other one, I don't know how quickly we want to dive into the obvious main event, I think.
Well, I guess before we get to the main event, I would say the last thing I wanted to touch on was that Metro Awakening. Now, it's VR. VR I'm not sold on. I have yet to buy one because I haven't seen anything besides Half-Life Alyx that's even remotely worth justifying paying $550 or plus for it. Yeah. And I like the Metro games, but I don't think that's enough to get me to purchase it either. But I think it looks like a strong VR first-person shooter.
If you're into VR, I think it looks great.
Dude, are you like me? You see a preview, and as soon as you see the floating hands, you're like, fuck.
Yep.
Dude, it's
damn it. You almost had me.
Yep, exactly. As soon as I see those fucking hands floating.
Where is that damn VR again? I do own a MetaQuest, but it's not, I haven't used it in a while. And there's always that VR film over VR games that makes it feel a little cheaper than a normal AAA game. I haven't played Half-Life Alyx.
You can get it
I've heard
on
it's
that,
phenomenal.
Can't you?
I can, but you have to link it to a PC.
Well, now you have a Steam Deck. Can you do that?
Huh, that's interesting.
Folks, chime in if you know.
I might be able to if my Steam Deck can run a Half-Life Alyx, and it'll probably take some functioning through desktop mode and shit like that.
But that's a Steam exclusive game, though.
Well, okay, it's a Valve game, obviously.
Right. So,
but will my Steam? It came out before the Steam Deck existed.
For sure. So. Yeah, it may not even be a game compatible with it. Yeah. So
we'll see what I can do with that. But that's an interesting side note.
That'd be dope, dude.
But
I'd come over and play that.
I bet you would. If you're not invited.
Will you invite me?
Yeah, we'll see. Play your cards right.
Yes, sir.
But I can't even remember why we dove into Half-Life. Oh, the VR games.
Exactly. So it was the last thing I wanted to touch on. Yeah, it's the last thing I wanted to touch on before we went to the main event.
That action RPG they showed too that's coming out in a few days. I can't remember the name of it. Kind of had a generic title.
Dude, is it when he's like tackling that skeleton?
Yeah, there were parts of it that looked cheap as shit.
Oh my god, dude.
It was probably fun to play.
I'd fuck with it. Dude, I bet most of those VR games are super fucking fun.
I bet that you can run on a MetaQuest. But anyway, I can't remember the name of it. It was super cheap. Super generic sounding name.
But you know what? Good job to the developers out there, putting about 2-3+ years of their life so Alex can sit here and say that looks shitty.
Look cheap. Blah. Hate it. Fuck you. Get out of here. Not good enough.
On to the main event is when our boy Kojima got out there, man.
Oh, that was the main event?
Well, for me it was.
Ooh.
What's your main event?
I don't know. I couldn't think of it. I don't have anything else down here. I was going to make a joke, but that's it. No, 100%. Death Stranding 2.
On the beach.
Woo! On the beach. Don't forget that damn subtitle.
Yeah. Classic Kojima, dude. Classic Kojima.
Subtitle that we're going to throw in.
Did you play Death Stranding?
I did, and I'm going to go back and play it again because I never beat it. But I got probably about 20 so hours in.
It's a decent amount. Yeah, I dipped my Shroud in. I probably did like 2 hours worth initially on my PC because it was like a free game like a year ago.
Yeah.
But my brother has it. I'm going to download it on the PlayStation. I need to just grind it out. It's tough to say where it falls on my like list of like priorities, But I have to do it before this game comes out because it looks so strong, dude. Nobody does narrative like epic narratives like Kojima, dude. I get excited when I see a Kojima game knowing that like I'm not going to understand fucking 70% of it, but it's really epic and the music's great and the voice acting's great and the setting's great. I don't have any complaints about that preview, dude. And then the little puppet guy.
I was going to say, how deep are we getting into the little aspects? That was one of the goofiest fucking previews I've ever seen.
But it's Kojima, dude. Yeah.
I love it. Like, I mean, Metal Gear Solid, I've said it before, is my favorite franchise probably.
Yeah, it's up there for me. Yeah.
And Kojima is obviously a fucking weirdo who has all these, crazy thoughts in his head that he's projecting into the video game sphere.
Right.
What the fuck was going on during that First off, yeah, what the fuck's up with the subtitle? Second off, what the fuck was up with the talking puppet that was strapped to him?
And he's animated in some like skipped animation, you know? I don't know.
That
dude.
was weird as shit.
It's like they're going for the God of War Mimir, you know, because that's the reference. When he goes to put him back there, he's like, oh fuck, on your ass? Can't I go on the front there? Because that's where Kratos puts Mimir all the time. So it's like
reference to that.
Yeah, they're reference, and I think it's hilarious. But that's what kind of tells me that that's the vibe they're going for.
How do you feel about the glove mask? The chick had the gloves, and they were a mask, and then they had a mind of their own.
I don't think I remember
talking
that
about.
Part. No,
oh my God,
I have to rewatch
dude,
it again.
Wild.
Yeah, I was watching it while I was driving. So
weird glove mask, confusing. Something else.
Are these your notes?
I wrote what the fuck. I wrote that it's a Strand game. They like to bring up that it's its own genre quite a bit because Kojima, as much as he's a genius, is also fucking weird.
I think that's part of his genius, though. I think it's on the spectrum. A little on the spectrum.
I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say it was a little, maybe like full of himself. Maybe has a little arrogance to him. But I'm okay with
Do you think he comes off arrogant, though?
I don't think he does, but I think
he's self-indulgent, but I don't think he's arrogant.
That might be a better way of putting it. Self-indulgent.
And maybe he is. You know, who knows?
It's a new game type. It's a Strand game. It's not.
But what's wrong with doing that? I guess I could sit there and critique it as well. You're right.
How do you feel about the guitar weapon guy?
Dude, I think it's fucking cheesy, but I feel like it's
awesome.
It's
Kojima.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because it's like it's very anime, like the things I don't typically. It's very Yakuza or like a Dragon, where it's like it's goofy in its seriousness, and it brings in a lot of anime isms into a more serious visual setting. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And for some reason, I'm more forgiving to Kojima than I am with most other properties.
He gets away with whatever.
He does.
That it looks absolutely baffling and amazing at the same time, and it makes me want to go back and play the first one a little bit more. The setting of Mexico or wherever, I think that's where.
I mean, look at all the different. I mean, there was like 5 different environments showcasing that.
It looked a little more exciting than the first one.
I agree.
But just if you've never played Death Stranding, you can probably get it for pretty cheap at this point. Go back and play it.
About $20 usually. I see it regularly.
Just for the experience of something different. It's not, it's not an action game where you're running around blasting shit and jumping out over walls and double jumping and doing crazy shit. But you know, as you progress in that game, there are more traversal aspects that you unlock and get going, and it becomes a little more thrilling as you unlock more things.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch those YouTube videos of like, this is what 200 hours in Death Stranding looks like, and these guys are just like, and everything. You know, it's just obviously the traversal so much more fluid when you've sunk 80 hours
having to calculate every little step that you're making, and that looks. And that's a lot of fun.
Yep.
It's cool. It's a different type of game.
I think anything Kojima puts his name on is probably inherently going to sell well. Even the thing that they're doing with Xbox, even though you don't know a lot about it, it's going to sell well.
Talking about his thing that he's doing, his espionage game that he's working on?
No, so that's PlayStation as well.
Oh, okay,
he's doing something separate. During that Xbox Direct, they mentioned it very briefly. Or was it during the State of the Summer Games Fest last year?
I can't remember that.
It didn't give. All it showed was people's faces and like the motion capture, and she was like screaming. That's all they really revealed about it. But that's his exclusive thing with Microsoft. But yeah, going on to that, dude, he's developing this new. How do you say it? It's Pheasant?
Pheasant?
Pheasant.
Pheasant?
Yeah.
Pheasant?
Pheasant.
We'll see if it ends up changing names. It sounds like something that's going to come out in probably... I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see this till 2027.
Well, it either fizz or it fizzant.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I mean...
They're not even starting development on it until after Death Stranding 2 has released, is what they said, or until that is done.
But to see Kojima get back into action espionage again, I think it's a recipe for probably one of the strongest franchises in existence.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. It's a shame how things ended with Metal Gear and him, you know. And honestly, it makes me less appealed to purchase Silent Hill 2 Remake. I'm kind of against purchasing for Kojima a little bit. I don't know the backdoor dealings of what happened between Kojima and Konami during MGS5, and it kind of ruined the development. And that game was so strong narratively, even after all that turmoil that happened. So imagine a game that he can finally put his heart into, make it weird as shit. It's espionage related again. You know he's going to be calling in Metal Gear shit all the time too, to some extent.
Probably he's going to bring in developers from all around the world, different people, so.
Well, and then, and then he's like.
Game/movie.
Right, and then anybody, dude, it's such a funny thing for him to say, because anybody who's played a Kojima games knows that's what he's always been fucking doing.
Yeah.
It's always been a merging of games and film. And then they zoomed out and they're at Columbia Pictures. So I'm assuming the insinuation is that they're doing something movie-wise, too?
They're going to release a movie that coincides with this.
I thought I heard something about a Metal Gear movie a while back.
Well, but if you remember when they zoomed out and it said Columbia Pictures, it said Pheasant underneath.
Oh, it did say it.
Yeah,
okay, for sure.
Pheasant underneath Columbia Pictures.
Okay.
So they're alluding to that being. I don't think it had anything to do with it.
I wonder if it's going to be like a.
And Kojima's not involved in Metal Gear anymore. I don't even know if he's allowed to discuss it anymore.
Well, it's not his property.
I don't think.
Whether he can discuss it, he can't create anything in that world.
That's beside the point. But Metal Gear Solid 3 will be great, I hope.
It'd be interesting to see how they merge game with movie, if it's two properties that exist simultaneously with each other and like kind of cross-reference.
Interactive somehow.
Did you watch the Cyberpunk Edge Runner anime?
I know about edging, but I don't know anything about Cyberpunk.
You don't know about running on that edge?
No.
Yeah, so it was an anime that came out on Netflix, and then it did really well, so they integrated facets of that into Cyberpunk in its update, so now you can meet characters from the anime in the game. So it's a really cool merging of, gaming and entertainment properties outside of gaming and being able to interact with characters that you've watched before. So
sounds interesting. It's no Yakuza funeral.
That's right.
It's,
Did you go?
No, I did not fly.
You didn't fly to Japan?
I'm sorry.
Go? Why are you apologizing to me?
I don't have that kind of cash.
I'm sorry you didn't get to go.
I don't have that kind of cash. I can't fly to Japan.
Have you ever looked at Japan tickets?
No.
How much does it cost?
Japan tickets.
Yeah, tickets to Japan.
Make it sound like I'm gonna go see a band named Japan.
That's a great band name.
We're Japan. I don't
the Japanese
what
house.
They would be. What kind of band would Japan be? I picture like
Wait,
Asia.
Is it called Just Japan or is it called?
Oh, Just Japan is a different band.
Are we talking quote unquote Just Japan? What was the word I said before?
Japan.
I said something else though, not just the word Japan. What did I say that you said it sounded like a band name?
Japan.
It wasn't just the word Japan. I wish I could rewind this recording. Wait, what did I just say? I swear to God, if you say just Japan again, man. It's obviously not what I'm thinking.
Are you sure it wasn't?
Okay, moving on. Either way, exciting to see Kojima get back into the stealth, espionage, action genre. He says it's new next generation. I don't know if that just means it's going to be on a new system or if he's doing something different with that genre. Either way, Kojima's a madman. I'll fucking watch anything that he does along the way.
We'll see how long
By the way,
takes.
I love the logo for his company too. I think it's so dope, dude.
Yeah.
I love the artistry that he's always integrated. Whoever that artist he brings in for Metal Gear's art, it's so unique in and of its own. And I like that he kind of brings that into his other properties as well. And you never played Zone of the Enders back in the day, but that was another Kojima production under Konami, and the art style is very similar. So shout out to Zone of the Enders and mechs where you sit in the dick. It's a very common thing in Japanese animes with mechs. The pilot's always in the crotch of the mech.
Yeah.
It just always protrudes.
Well, that's where everything is controlled. All right.
Is that like us?
It's the brain of the system. All right.
That's what drives us.
How it goes.
That's what drives us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes me shoot my guns.
Every day. Why do you think I'm doing this video game podcast?
Wait, why?
Because I want to get laid, man. Yeah. Our 100% male audience.
Is this the best means?
This is it.
Hey, guys, if you're out there and you like what you see, and you got some girls.
All right. All right.
We were thinking about posting Alex's Tinder profile in the description, so
I don't think it would get me any matches if I put
just
that
get you
in
trolled.
Yeah.
Shout out in the comments if you think Alex should put his dating profile in our descriptions.
No, the other way around. Put the podcast link in my dating profile.
That's what you were talking about?
That's what I was talking about.
I thought you were saying the opposite.
Oh,
Putting your dating profile in the podcast description.
No.
I'm not opposed to that either.
No.
I'm not opposed to that.
Other way around, but I don't think it's going to attract the right people is what I was saying. Not ones I want to date.
What kind of people are you looking for?
Women.
Just women in
general? We're not going...
What? What's wrong with it, man?
This isn't my therapy hour.
Do you...
No.
Hope that you date a girl who plays games.
Yeah. I don't. It's not a requirement though. I don't give a
yeah.
fuck as long as they're cool with me doing it. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not going to dominate, the relationship or anything like that. I know how to prioritize shit.
Are you into domination?
Depends on who's doing it. I don't know.
Oh, so you are?
No.
You'd have to be
maybe. I don't know. Fuck. Why are we doing this? Why are we here anyway?
Last note I wanted to put on the PlayStation State of Play was that there's going to be another one February 6th, speaking exclusively about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. What's your thoughts on that? Did you play the remake?
Oh, God. I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy. Wait, is it 6? I thought you said 6 or 7.
I said 7.
Oh, okay. Anyway, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. I need to replay.
Did you play the remake?
I played part of it. Honestly, part of the reason I didn't get super attracted to it was because I knew that there was going to be more later on, that it wasn't outside of Midgar. It was just in the city. So I need to go back and play that.
Why was that unappealing to you?
Because I wanted to play the whole experience of Final Fantasy VII, of leaving that.
So you're just going to wait for it to all be released and then play it?
Well, no, that's just why I didn't want to play it at the time. But
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting to see a direct, very specifically oriented towards that. I think it's a huge selling point for PlayStation to have exclusivity to Final Fantasy like this. I don't know if they're going to always have that exclusivity, but at least for a limited time, that's theirs alone. And it's a PS5 exclusive. No more of downgrading the graphics or any settings to adapt for a PlayStation 4. So I think there's a lot to be excited about with that. Final Fantasy VII is obviously one of the strongest stories in history, and what they've done with this remake is just completely spun it to not fit into exactly what everybody remembers from the original.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put any spoilers in there, but, there's a deviation from the narrative.
What are they going to call the next one, though? Is there supposed to be 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, so this is Rebirth.
Maybe Afterbirth?
Aborted.
What do you think? Final Fantasy VII Afterbirth? Would you play?
Well, I mean, you'd have to almost look at the story itself and narratively where 3/4 of the way through the story where you're at. Rebirth.
I just wanted to make that Afterbirth joke. That's the only reason I even said that. I'm gonna be honest with everyone.
Well, I'm glad that you're being honest with them.
For
once in your life.
If it wasn't obvious, that's what happened there.
So yeah, that kind of wraps up the State of Play. I thought very exciting. Most of that shit is stuff that I'd be willing to pay full price for a handful of those in there, man.
What's your number one if you had to pick one?
Strangely enough,
looking forward to the most.
I think Death Stranding 2's up there.
Okay.
I didn't finish the first, but I'm gonna throw Judas on it.
The one that I brushed off real quickly.
Because
you're playing BioShock.
Because I hold BioShock so high in my top games that I've played in terms of narratives. If I could get a spin like the narrative of BioShock 1 in this Judas dude, that's all I need. Yeah. It's one of the best twists in a narrative ever. So if I can get something like that again with Ken Levine involved, it's the one I'd be the most excited about. I'd say Helldivers 2 is the one right underneath that. Then.
I think they should get Maroon 5 to do the music so that Ken and Adam Levine can be involved. What do you think?
I'm not opposed to it. But I just hope it doesn't ruin the setting.
It might.
Please, love,
it's about Judas. Don't you understand?
Right. It's all biblical.
That's it is all biblical.
They like to bring a lot of biblical references into their narratives. Every BioShock had that.
I thought you were talking about Maroon 5 still. It's like, I got to go back and listen to that.
Oh, you don't know? Dude, songs about Jane? That shit was
it was all
about
biblical.
the Mother Mary, bro.
All biblical, baby. Interesting. I have to look at Judas a little bit closer if that's your number one from the showcase. Mine's, I think, Rise of the Ronin. I probably already alluded to that in the setting. Everything looks phenomenal in that. It looks like one you can really sink your teeth into.
Looks fantastic.
So we'll see.
Some would say.
Yeah. I would.
What's your number two?
Death Stranding 2, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Those are the top
just the
two
strength
for me.
of Kojima. I mean, I guess you could put Fizzant in there.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's just not enough to play off of yet. It's more of a concept. So, yeah, Death Stranding 2 is definitely the one that takes it.
Third,
so.
I mean, Stellar Blade is... I'm looking forward to that a lot, too.
Because of that booter?
Yeah. I mean, we could just talk about every single game we just talked about again. But
yeah, I will not give a third. So,
I refuse.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That was everything that happened. It was a busy week, you know, with that PlayStation State of Play that kind of ate up a lot of the time. But I think it's just such a promising future. At least the next 6 months to a year for PlayStation is just going to be chock full of a lot of winners, man. You know, and hopefully we'll get on some Helldivers and Foam Stars. We'll try those out. And by the next episode, I'll be gone for the next 2 weeks. So we'll probably record one when I get back. And those games should be out, and maybe we'll get to comment on those.
Sounds good.
Shout out in the comments if you guys think we should do a top 5 listing. We've been playing around with the idea outside of just doing news and new releases, doing a top 5. So just if you guys have any thoughts on that, let us know.
I really feel like this is an off-air conversation. I'm a little upset right now.
About what? The top?
I'm joking. No, yeah, chime in the comments.
It's because Alex doesn't respect your guys' opinion.
I don't. I think this is something we should talk about off air. I don't care what you guys
You're
think.
above them?
No, we should. I think we should, personally.
I wasn't asking you. I was asking them.
Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what anyone thinks.
All right, Alex, sending it off once again for the 9th time. What do you got to tell these people?
That's tough. Once again, unprepared.
At this point, you think you'd be prepared.
I know, but I don't really have any... I'm the last person that should be giving advice out. So for me to be doing this is very ironic at the end of every episode. But God, I've pretty much repeated everything I can possibly say at this point. Just remember to stay strong out there, and call your loved ones. Check on them. Make sure you do that in the midst of playing all these video games. It's important. And we lose sight.
Let me cut this off before he dies. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Episode 9 in the books. Please like and subscribe if you like what you heard. I know it's a little long-winded sometimes in this format, but we'll get some shorts out there. We'll get you guys some attention here. Alex, thanks again for joining me on episode 9 here. This was a hoot. I had a good time talking about all these new games with you, and we'll see you guys next time.